So what have we done so far? Let's have a look here. We created the main page contact info.html, and when we run it in a browser, we can enter some data for first name and last name, and oops, I think the server is not running. So let's go over here. I have an error there. Let's go over here to Explorer, to the command prompt, and run the batch file. Start. And that should be good. Let's try it again. Now it should run. So we have a form. Let me enter nothing and click on submit. So there's no validation here. Let's put in some basic validation. Some of the validations you can use are these. Open up Notepad. So some very basic validations, and this doesn't mean that it's everything. We have a function called empty. So we can check whether, for example, the first name is empty or not. Another validation we have is null. Is set, actually, is set. And what is set determines is whether this variable exists. So let's say I can type in funky here. And obviously, this variable doesn't exist because we only have first name and last name. The other one is numeric. If I say is numeric for first name, I'll probably get a false. So these are some basic validations. You can go even further than that. For example, you can validate a regular expression or whatever. So let us incorporate some of these validations into our application. So at the back end in process2.php, we can check a few things. I can say if empty for example first name, should put this in a bracket, put a variable here. If this is empty, then maybe echo first name is missing, or first name is required. Okay, and then you can say else here. Else you can display what has been entered. I can put this here, and I can do the same thing for last name. And maybe I'll replace the else with this. And maybe I'll move this to the top. Let's see what's going to happen now. Go back to my main page and run this. So first name, we click on submit. The user entered first name is required, last name is required. I should have put a break somewhere, or better still, maybe contained it within a paragraph. So let me do that. Progress 2. I'll probably need to put this all in a paragraph. Here. Let's save this. Go back. Actually, I don't think I need to refresh. But anyways, let's do it again. Yeah. So we entered nothing and we got first name is required, last name is required. Typically when you enter an error message, it should be in red. So let's fix that. Come here where we have an error message. Maybe can I change the style to color. And let's just make it red. These are error messages. Yeah. I can't have two quotations, so what I'll do, two double quotations. So let's use single quotations here because it will conflict with the outside quotation, which is this here. This and this. So I'll take this and copy it down here. And save. Control S here. And then you can see that it immediately updates. Okay, so next, let's see if we can add some numeric validation. So I'll go back here and maybe enter another field. Let's say weight. So I'll just say this is weight. And in the back end, I'm going to check whether this is numeric or not. So let's say if is numeric, and then we have weight, then I can say, let's say weight is, and we put in weight here. Otherwise, we display an error message, which is one of these in red. So maybe we can say here, weight is not numeric. Let's save and go back to the previous page and run. Here's the form. No. How come? Maybe I didn't save the other one. Save all. Yep, I think I didn't. So let's go back here and see. Yep, here's my weight. So now let's say I put KKK is not numeric. Weight is not numeric. I get an error message. We go back and maybe put in a number and says weight is weight, so there's something wrong here. Just a second. Yep, I didn't put a dollar, that's why. So let's save, go back. Yeah, and that's good. The next thing I want to show you is how can we use isSet. Now let us assume that we want to check whether a particular variable is set. So I can say if is set, and maybe I'll put some dummy variable here. Let's say dummy. So we can say variable dummy is not set. Well, We expect it not to be set because we don't have a variable by that name. So let's save, come here, refresh. Let's see why this is not updating. It's set. Okay, we should say if not is set. Save. Yeah, so variable dummy is not set. That's expected. The next thing we want to think about is how do we make our pages consistent from one page to another? At the moment, what we've got is, for example, this here, the first page works out okay, but it has no any style. And, for example, the page source is okay. We've got a HTML header, a body tag, seems okay. But if we go to the form and submit and look at the view here, view page source, this one really doesn't have a head tag and an HTML tag and a body tag and all that. So maybe we want to create some sort of theme or banners and consistency across the various pages. So one way of doing that is you can use a command called include in PHP. For example, I can do something like this, include, and I can say, for example, include header, and I can also say include body. Let me copy this, and let's say I can put some HTML here, some div tags, and create my main body and so on and so forth. And then at the bottom, I include a footer. Both of these have to be .php. Otherwise, this thing may not work the way we want it to work. So I'll create a new folder here, and I'll call that includes. And inside of that folder, I'll create two files. One is called header.php, and another file, let's say we'll call it footer.php. Now, in the header.php, I'm going to copy this section here, which is really to do with the head part of my app. Put that here. And in my footer.php, I'm going to copy this part here. And save all of these. Go back into my main page. Now I want to include those pages. So I have to go use the include command. So it has to be a PHP command. So let's say I'll say here include header.php. Put a semicolon here. Now we have a problem. The problem is that this is a PHP command, but our page is not PHP, it is .html. So what we need to do now is rename this so that it has the extension PHP. And the moment we do that, we see that the page lights up. I need to do the same thing for the footer. So I'm going to delete this because that's going to come from my footer page. So we need a quotation here, and a quotation here, and we'll change this to footer. Save. Now let's add something that gives our pages a banner that's consistent across our website. What I did was I got a banner of the city of Vancouver here, and I'm gonna put it up on my header. So down here, I'm going to create a div tag, and in here I'll put an image tag. The source is going to be images/Vancouver.jpg. That's about it. That's all I need to do. It should load it up on every page. Now let's check this out. Let's go to our main page, which is contactinfo.php, and then let's make sure everything is saved, and let me run this. Oops, I have a lot of errors. What does it say? No such file or directory, header.php. Now I know what I did wrong. The header.php happens to be in a subdirectory, so I need to tell it where it's found. So I need to add the includes folder. Let me do that for footer as well. Let's save all and come back here and refresh. So sure enough, we get our banner, and I have my first name, my form. Let me see that if I submit this, whether I'll get the same UI on the other page, the process page. Click on that, and I don't get that, and I can understand why, because I didn't add the include for the header and the include for the footer in the process page. So let's just do that very quickly. So I'm going to copy this from the main page, go to the process2 page, maybe add it at the top here, and go grab the footer and add it at the bottom here, and save everything. Come back here, go back, enter the same data again, submit, and boom, I get the same banner. So what have we learned here? Well, it's a good idea to keep some consistency across your website, have the same banner, perhaps have the same styling, and so on and so forth. And all that you can do by using the include command in PHP. So thank you very much. This is basically what I wanted to cover for a first-time PHP user. These are some of the very basic things, and stay tuned for more. Thank you.